Hello Moogles, it's the Schwans27 here to recap yet another week in the Flashback Battle Royale event, and this was the flag set that caused the most planning and discussion amongst the community, the Blackjack Battle Royale Maduin table. Terrible stats, minuscule XP gains that were divided amongst party members in battle, and a mirror match party highest scaling for enemies made it such that every fight was going to be a scrap. There was some reprieve with 100% random chests, cheap spellcasts, and cheap shops, along with rewards for killing dragons and the chance to upgrade Sabin for going on a rafting trip down the Leet River. But would we find Terra? It seems like the strategy for most runners was to find super balls and or rods and a good spot to grind for later in the seed early on, then do a normal playthrough until needing levels for the final boss. The early game definitely took longer than normal to find some semblance of offense to get out and going, as our free checks gave us an economizer at the South Figaro prisoner spot, a dragon horn from the collapsing house, and an offering at the Figaro throne to go along with fixed dice that we looted out of the Narf shed. Narves also grabbed some Marvel shoes out of the Coliseum, and other runners chose to use running shoes in order to get around the lethargic speed stat that our characters had. We shopped for super balls at various different spots around the world to take on our first challenge of the seed, and most runners went immediately to take on dragons to secure that juicy experience egg. A vanilla dirt dragon at the Opera House gave yet another set of fixed dice that both Edgar and Celeste could use, so this would be essential to getting past future encounters, as the damage for the fixed dice isn't dependent upon character stats. Ghost Train at the engine room wasn't suplex, but instead could easily be dispatched using an air anchor that we started with, or just rolling bones at it. The next dragon at Ancient Castle was the White Dragon, dropping an Aegis shield, as well as completing the EXP egg objective, and more vanilla Sketch Realm was the reward, but with split experience enabled, Narves went with a 3-person party here, while some other runners chose to only go with a 2-person party instead. Owzer's Mansion was up next, and Rexol forced us to switch up the strategy from the offering build to the drill in order to reward Unicorn with Ice 3. Realm's other check, Esper Mountain, had a pushover leader to give us Fenrir with Fire 3 on it as well. Jumping off of Barren Falls was yet another instant death weak boss, Narapa, as the air anchor was getting a workout for Tirado. Imperial Camp was another Esper Zone Seek, and finally in Mount Cult is where we found another character, along with another boss for that air anchor, with Sword Tech Terra. The Imperial base treasure had Dragoon Boots, which could be used for another fixed dice build when paired with the Collapsing House reward, and going back to Zen allowed us to buy the Esper that the thief was selling. In order to fully power up Sabin, we went along to the Leet River for a Tritalk, but more importantly, 8 blitzes. A Moogle was wandering around the back of Phantom Train, along with Gigantos and Goddess at the end, but the fixed dice offering build was able to get around the love token ability to get us our character requirements. Magitech Factory gave us the final 2 Espers for Go mode, however, Narves is only at level 25 on Edgar and 19 on the other characters at this point, far too weak to take on Final Kefka, but he planned on getting more levels inside of Kefka's tower with his party of 3 on the path fighting the most bosses, including double backing the tower into the other lane to grab the plus 20 magic power for 4 dragons objective. However, this only got his team to level 29 at the top and 23 for the others, so he decided to trek up World of Ruin Norse without the Moogle charm on to go after the gold dragon, who had a valiant knife. After another 15 minutes or so of level gaining, it was back into the tower to clear out Fudenbaba on the left with the solo Edgar fixed dice offering, and then the Sabin Celeste pairing for the Ultras 3 fight on the other side to get those to level 27. It was going to be a long, slow fight, but having an air anchor, Golem, Fenrir, and Life 3 gave us some confidence. Tier 2 with Ice 3 still took a while because of lack of access to mute, as Magic was rude with the quarter counters to our party here. After healing ourselves back up, good fixed dice offering rolls bypassed the Medio phase altogether, and it was on to Kefka. We weren't out of the woods yet, as Goner would still deal a ton of damage, but Narves came prepared with those Marvel shoes that do grant the auto shell status, so I guess it's finally time I give props to that terrible relic. He eventually finished in first place with a 1:53:59 time. Anyone that actually managed to finish their seed and not throw in the towel on this one was moving on for this week, but I certainly don't blame anyone that decided it was enough with this set of options. In Memory Lane, the free check rewards were a Thunder Shield in Figaro Castle, Gem Box, South Figaro Basement, and an EXP egg from the Collapsing House, along with a cheap 11,000 GP Bahamut from the Thief. We weren't done yet with great items, as the Nar Shed was probably the most stacked I've ever seen, with a Cat Hood, Mega Elixir, EXP Egg, Gold Hairpin Gem Box, and Genji Glove in the 6 chests. Continuing to loot was an Illumina and Fixed Ice and Returners, and in shops, half-price Super Balls and Thunder Rods in World of Ruin South Figaro with Edgar at the front of the party were the way forward through the seed. Edgar got the Fixed Ice again in this go-round, with Celeste doing Illumina duties into Imperial Camp, where Crusader allowed us to get a +1 speed bonus from the very early stages of the game. Barren Falls had Palador, and Magitek Factory had some more Fixed Ice in a chest before a vanilla Ifrit fight in which J-Brun TR exploited the runaway trick for Raiden, and then a French Finello number 128 had Phantom, which, by the way, were the same exact bosses in the same exact spots as in the other seed this week. Continuing on through the minecart ride for additional levels had Atma and Air Force at the end, guarding a third Esper Tritok. More levels were required in the Opera House Disruption with veterans before a Rexol fight that had Starlet with X-Zone and Bolt 3 on it. Jump Natural Magic Realm was also in one of Edgar's checks in this seed, but at the engine room, while another Speed +1 Bismarck was the reward in the Ancient Castle prior to taking on the Dirt Dragon, rewarding a Pearl Lance. The Opera House Ice Dragon completed the third experience egg of the seed with a Force Armor. Right around the corner at Owser's Mansion was a Painting Slot Mog after a 0 XP Ultra Chupon fight. Umaro was the reward at Realm's other check, and suddenly we only needed one more shiny stone for Kefka unlock. Peeking Umaro's reward after triggering Lone Wolf saw no character emerge, but since we were already halfway up there, we might as well continue onwards towards the next set of checks. Lone Wolf had a Flame Shield choice with another experience egg, making a full breakfast for our runners, and a Soldier Sprite at the Narsh Battle meant we were going to continue with this check, and it took a while to take down Doomgaze, but Shoat was our reward. Similar to the other seed, we were unfortunately at only level 25 at most and 22 at the bottom end of our characters, so the other World of Ruin Narsh loop would have to provide some extra levels. The Skull Dragon dropped a Ragnarok, Tritok Clef was an Esper, and that was enough for J-Brun TR to head into Kefka's Tower, overloading the second party to clear out the Cell and Dragon spots first, then onto the Dinosaur Forest to grind with a stack of those Thunder Rods, and then landing on the Cactuar Island near Doma for some Kefka Tower encounters in order to get up to level 32 across the board. The other spots in Kefka's Tower were pretty rude, especially for the party with the Blitz and Umaro against Welk, and then Stooges followed by Doom in the middle lane. However, the bump in magic power from defeating the dragons, along with tons of rods, and Illumina or Ragnarok on Celeste, Fixed Ice for Edgar, along with the Doom, Mute, and Life 3 spells, meant a slow but steady final fight as J-Brun TR clocked in at just 27 seconds over the 2-hour mark for first place points. Now that we can put this nightmare behind us, we can get on to one of the flag sets from the Coliseum 2 event that we did not play during the actual event, Edgar's Chainsaw. For the second week in a row, we've got Tools Edgar in our starting party, but this time 2 other randos will be joining us. Kefka's Unlock is the standard 6 characters, 9 Espers, but getting Kefka Tower skip requires defeating 12 bosses, and remember, there are bosses inside of Kefka's Tower, so we may see some shenanigans like a full party clear through the 3 bosses for the right party at the entrance to get you up to 12, so that you can come back into the tower at the statues to defeat the side ones with parties of 2 instead of 1. Additionally, this is a barter type seed, meaning every item will sell for 2,000 GP in shops, and you'll need to trade in 4 of them to purchase a single thing with a 1/4 sellback rate. However, they are 100% random with no Super Balls or rods. You start with 3,000 GP along with 3 Warp Stones and Phoenix Downs, so that's at least less consumables to buy. Since this is a Coliseum flag set after all, we do get a +10 stat boost across the board for winning a fight beyond the +5 strength and magic power from the start that you get, which you may find helpful with the harder than normal scaling of enemies. You'll also get a high tier item from the standard reward pool and all of the tools for setting the Zozo clock. We will be required to do this for Kefka Unlock in a future week's flag set, so if you want to practice now, it will at least give you something other than a single chest. Are we going to get sick of the Figaro King? I sure hope I don't get used to his discounted shops, because the sticker shock is going to be awful. I've been Schwanz27. Until next time.